Do you know that you can read your heart rate right now as I'm talking, only using the webcam on your computer? This is driven by military tech that's been used by them for decades but hasn't been accessible to everyday people until now. So there have been three major issues that's been making this technology inaccessible to the everyday person. And first of all, for these kind of devices like neurotech devices, biosensors, people have to rebuild pipelines for every single new device. There's no interoperability, causing tons of extra time and money, of course. And the users, they don't have access to the data, all owned by corporations that profit from it. And there's no app registry of actually knowing what apps are solid and not, what to trust and not, and thus there are zero breakout brain apps out there. But what if all that could change? So imagine that you have a world where you could basically transform any camera on your phone or computer into a biosensor that could track biological measurements personalized on you in real time. That world is what we are building towards. So we recently introduced the Elata SDK, where anyone can basically integrate both brain technology as well as webcam technology into any app to track things like heart rates, and with all the data staying entirely on device with all user control. And the possibilities here mean that you can actually, into any app, you can include things like focus tracking, stress tracking, even sleep. And you can do this through things like a brain device you can see right here. You can do it through like the webcam that I mentioned and other technologies as well. And the core stack that we have is basically this. So our PPG is technology up here that I mentioned initially. That is the military technology that's being used on webcams, where you can basically track all this from a simple webcam. And all this is running with a Rust core that has been a really massive thing here, because normally when you're trying to track these measurements only using webcam, you can't do it because people usually use JavaScript, and it's too slow to actually process the webcam and actually turn that into actually biometrics. But Rust is fast enough to actually make it near native performance in browser. And then we have WebAssembly that ensures that all the data can be actually computed on device without actually leaving that going into any centralized database whatsoever. And then we have unified bindings that ensure that you can actually create an app once, and then you can port it to iOS and Android from the browser instead of having to rewrite for every single language. And so how challenging is it to build all this is the question. So basically, you just need one npm install to actually make this work into an existing app. So you can see here the RPPG that I mentioned before. So the webcam technology, you can integrate through that. If you want to integrate brain tracking, you can do another npm install. And then if you want to build a new app from scratch and integrate both technologies, it's basically 3 npm installs. And so you're probably thinking like, how or why does blockchain fit into all this? And we believe that blockchain is the only way to actually ensure that all these things are actually possible. So first of all, you can actually have incentive alignment across the users and developers in the ecosystem. And you can actually make sure that all this is curated through an app registry that's actually maintained and curated entirely by the community instead of any centralized organization like us. So we have no control over the apps that actually go out, but all the community and developers actually decide what gets to come out or not. And this is then driven by the underlying Elata protocol, where the Elata token, the ecosystem token, is basically what is kind of the curation engine here, where all the ones that stake Elata and get points for that, they have access to app launches to then be able to support them to get off the bonding curve. And the general public can first get access if it actually successfully gets off the bonding curve. Otherwise, they can't whatsoever. So that's really making sure that the community is entirely in control of what is a solid app that people like and not, instead of us. So far, we launched the Elata SDK version 1 a few weeks ago, and already had 4,000 installs. And we did a BCI demo, basically controlling things only using your mind, at Token 2049 last year. And that was driven by our underlying hardware and app we created for that to showcase the technology here. And we did a pre-sale last year, $375K on Juicebox to support our initial efforts to build this out. And so next up, so we recently just launched the first iteration of the Elata protocol and are about to open alpha testing the community, and then starting federated learning, which basically is on-device machine learning, instead of leaving that into any centralized database. So only the improvements go across the ecosystem, but no underlying data whatsoever. And then we are launching the community sale and the token on mainnet, as well as the protocol on mainnet soon, as you can see here. And then we are also bridging to BNB later this year and launching an iOS app to make this even more accessible. So right now, I want to show you right now how the protocol actually looks like. So this is the page we have right now. So you can see some apps that are already up here, and have an activity tab here, you can see, and then we have like here where you can build an app, and basically just a few easy steps and you can launch an app integrating technologies. And we have here for staking, a point system here where we have different activities that get points, where staking, as mentioned, is the one that gives the most points, a leaderboard. And so let me just show you right now an example app and how it works. So this app, Monkey Mind, so I want to actually show this with both the brain device and the camera as well. So this device that I have here is it's called a Muse device, and it's basically the biggest consumer brain device out there. All right. Great. Perfect. Okay, so let's go to new game. There's like an intro of what this is all about. Let's just skip that so I can go straight into the game. So here I connect the webcam. So press here. And so it's connected. And then we have the headband here, the Muse that I'm connecting right here. Connected, great, and then let's start the game. So you can see I'm this monkey that escaped a lab and then trying to survive. So you can see down at the bottom there is brain signals being tracked, and you can see the beats per minute as well is from their webcam to track my heart rate. And then basically you can see there are some measurements here where it's like showing where it's showing the signal, how that is, and then if you're very calm or very focused, it can also increase like power ups and stuff like that. It can pop up. Might get an example of that. But yeah. Let's see here. And you can see down there, this is a very calm state right now, which is a positive thing. And yeah, it keeps saying check lighting, and it's because there's a lot of light from these in the back, but normally you want to have a little more neutral light, so the signal is better. You see a how arousal. So I got like spray mode, like an extra power up based on that. So it's like in real time, a high calm, precision damage. So it's like trying to basically give you like real time feedback based on that, where you then get extra power ups if you do better. And you can see at the end. So basically, then it shows you like a report of how you did, all the brain signals, how they were doing. And then you can see like heart rates. You can see that it started lower and then it went up over time. And then, so basically my stress increased, went down a bit at the end, and increased a little bit at the end too. And calm versus arousal. It's pretty stable generally. You can see here. And there's some measurements down here at the bottom too. Heart rates, dominant theta is more like deep relaxation. And it actually says here at the bottom, excellent focus throughout this level. Your calm state was strong, which is a positive thing. If you don't do so well, it's like saying things like, for instance, do box breathing to calm down or something. Yeah. Cool. Yeah, just go in the... So basically that's everything I have. So if you want to learn more about us, you can scan the QR code here. Build with us, you can scan the QR code there. Partner with us, you can scan the QR code here. And happy to take any questions and discuss any of this further. Thank you so much all for paying attention, and I hope you found this interesting. We see this as a new paradigm we're trying to build here, and yeah, very exciting stuff in our opinion. Thanks.